Good morning, everybody. It is 10:35. 10:35. It is June 3rd, Thursday, or as the old school would say, Thursday. It's been an interesting 24 hours thereabouts. Yesterday we actually literally rested. I mean, I got to the point where it's like I don't feel like doing anything. The weather was kind of gloomy and bleh. Get out of here. I got a fly in my room. Little bugger, get out of my coffee. um, we had fun yesterday. There was a point in time in the evening time that we were sitting in the living room relaxing for a little bit. It must have been, it was after dinner, so I had to be around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Jerry and I were relaxing in our living room, watching a little Vikings. Um, no, not little kids. The show Vikings. And we looked up, and lo and behold, right outside, literally right outside, if I could have snuck up and opened up my Arcadia door, I could have reached out and petted a deer. I mean, I think he was my Tuesday night seed thief. I like to pour a little seed on the ground from the bird feeder, so the bigger birds that can't get onto the bird feeder can get a little food themselves. Well, I know I poured out a lot on Tuesday, and come Wednesday morning, it was all gone. Now, at first, it was like maybe it was the yard people that blew the seeds away. But then Wednesday morning, they were gone again. So it's like, maybe it wasn't the yard people doing our yard. Maybe it was, a critter. And lo and behold, yesterday afternoon, here comes a deer looking for food. And it was pretty awesome to see it so close. Because I mean, I've seen deer from a distance, but never that close. I mean, I've seen all kinds of animals up close and personal, but never a deer. Um, and yesterday, because it was cold and rainy, I was kind of surprised they were coming close to houses. I figured they stay in the woods where they keep a little bit drier. But usually to see a deer by itself, there's two reasons. One reason, which is the common reason, is most female deers, when they're getting ready to give birth, go to by themselves and be in a secluded area. But being this guy was by himself in the middle of the day after the birthing season, because that usually happens, that would have happened about a month or two ago, back in April, early May. I'm fearful that this one might have been a little sick. Um, and I know there are a few deer species in Missouri. One of them is the blacktail that likes to be by itself, except for during the rut. So I don't know what this guy's issue was or why he was so out in the open and that close to human residents. Of course, the way nature's been lately, it's kind of like they gotten so used to being close to people while people were, being self quarantined due to the pandemic, that they might have gotten to the point where it's like, hey, if there's no movement, if there's no people making noise, if there's no activity, I can come close to a house and not be worried about anything unless there's a dog or something like that. So that, in fact, we've been seeing our foxes, two of them, pretty much on an almost regular basis, literally daily. Yesterday I saw him like come out of nowhere, and I have a neighbor across the street, and he has a raised deck because his main front door is almost like his house is almost like a split level, so his main door is like a little bit higher than the lower driveway. So I saw this fox go up the stairs, up to the onto the porch, basically, the front porch, and then across the front porch and down the other set of stairs to the secondary driveway. And I just kind of went, what is he running from? But it was kind of cool to see him do that. We've been actually watching him run from him and his mate, I guess, or maybe his mother. I don't know. I can't tell if one is younger or older than the other one, but he'll run like from the shrubs across the street from my neighbor's house along the fence line to the open field next door, down that fence line, across the street, or across the cul-de-sac, however you want to call it, into my yard and along my bushes. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Excuse me, I have a black mark on my thumb and I don't know where it came from. I don't want to lick it because it could be something I don't want in my mouth. There we go. But, critter watching lately has been interesting. It was kind of funny because there was like weeks on end where we were like, we haven't seen any deer in a long time, almost a month. What's going on? Are the foxes scaring out the deer? No. The deer don't usually get scared by foxes because they're bigger than foxes. And, I can understand I haven't seen a rabbit in a long time, and foxes eat rabbits. So if I find a half-eaten rabbit carcass, I'll know why, because of the foxes. Not that I want to find one of those, but, foxes are known for going after rabbit. They'll go after a squirrel if they can catch them on the ground. So, my animal watching days lately have been fairly good. Today's going back to work. Wednesday we did a lot of stuff around the house. I think I talked about that on a previous video. Or not Wednesday. Tuesday we did a lot of stuff around the house. Wednesday we rested all day. Literally, we had family game night. After dinner, we sat down and played 2 rounds of Monopoly. We have basically electronic Monopoly, so we don't have to worry about who's keeping track of the bank and who's doing what to who. The computer does it for you. I don't know if you've ever seen the electronic version of Monopoly. What it is it's a battery-operated top hat looking thing, and it's got 4 buttons for the 4 different game pieces. And you basically, at the beginning of the game, you hit the button for your corresponding game piece, and it keeps track of who's who. Then as you go along, you have to hit the button and like pass. You hit your button and tell it pass go when you pass go. Or when you get to a piece of somebody's property, if it's not been sold yet, you can sit there and hit the button and like buy Kentucky. Or hit the button and say build a house on Kentucky, or build a hotel on Kentucky, or pay rent on Kentucky. And it keeps track of everybody's money and what everybody's done, who, all that kind of fun stuff. So the only thing the players have to worry about is whose turn is it. Not, is that my money? Did my money get pushed over there? Is that my property? It's, that kind of thing. So, you do have the little property cards to say that you own the property, so you can look at the card and decide if you've got enough money to build a house or something like that. And you can use it. You even hit the your game piece button and say balance, and it tells you how much money you have in the bank type thing. It's a pretty simplified way of playing Monopoly, but it's still fun. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, this is so much easier. Yeah, you stay up there, because you come near my coffee one more time, you're going to be part of it. Freaking flies. Nothing like flying your coffee in the morning time. And just, you might not like the taste of it, but according to science, yeah, they've got enough protein and nutrition on there to last you about a minute. One of the fun scientific things I've learned when studying survival skills. Some of the things that I learned and watched and whatnot kind of made me go, ooh, that sounds nasty, but get out of here. When you're out in the middle of the wilds and you're running out of food and you're able to get yourself a bunch of worms, they're edible. I wouldn't want to eat them. I'd clean the crud out of them in water before I even thought about putting one of those little squirming things in my mouth. But yeah, random tidbits of information is the theme of today because that's where my brain is. I'm feeling a whole lot better than I did yesterday. Yesterday I was tired, I was groggy, I was just feeling like lethargic and granted, I did run out and get a few emergency things that we needed in the middle of a rainstorm. Jerry had me go pick up some supplies because she wants to make what's known as fathead dough. Don't know what that is. Maybe we'll be making that soon. That in fact, she needed some more hygiene wipes, and I bought a back. Yeah, I wish I bought myself a new back. I could really use one. I bought myself a box of like gloves from the pharmacy department, so I can put those on if I have to take care of any messes. You know, they're good. They're nice to have around if you are. Not that I'm wanting to, but I do it because of the fact that I love my wife. But being a caretaker, this is the second time I have had to be a caretaker. The first time I had to be a caretaker for Joanne was when she had her boy, I can't talk this morning, can't you tell? The first time she had her knee surgery, basically I had to be there to clean her up, wipe her up, help her, to the porta potty that was sitting in the living room less than. All right, buddy, you're starting to really torque me off. Less than 5 feet away from where she was sitting most of the time, because she wasn't supposed to put extreme amount of weight on her, or she wasn't supposed to be walking around the house, basically. So getting up out of her chair to go to the porta potty and then back to her chair, that's basically all she could do, and I had to deal with that. Wasn't the funnest thing I've ever had to do in my life, but when it comes to family and you really love your wife, your spouse, whatever, you'll do just about anything for them, including murder. No, I'm just joking. I wouldn't go that far. I would if it was one of those life or death situations, but not, on purpose. I'm bad, I know. Anyhow, I did not read last night because literally I was so busy with other projects besides enjoying time with my family. Basically, I did some work in here on one of my mini projects, and then I did, I spent the rest of the evening or day just enjoying my wife's company, besides going out and to do the run to the grocery store for some supplies that we needed at the house. And because it was Wednesday and I was out of mead, I went and bought my 2 bottles of mead, which is like $25 a Wednesday. Now if it was like any other day of the week, it probably would have cost me closer to $30, because I get the inexpensive brand, which is, I'll tell you what, I've tried the expensive brand and I tried the inexpensive brand. And the problem I find with the expensive brand, besides the fact that it's almost $30 a bottle, it's more potent. And I don't always like the flavor. The flavor sometimes is just a little too strong. I like a sweet flavor. So I get this inexpensive brand, locally, American made brand, American made mead, which Americans aren't used to so harsh flavors in their liquor, unless they're used to beer. I don't know why. I'm not a beer person. It's just it needs a little more flavoring than hops and wheat and barley and, But But I went and got my 2 bottles, and that will last me about 2 weeks, depending on how much I drink per sitting. Like last night was the first pouring from the bottle, and I drank about half of that skull mug worth of mead. And then Jerry made herself a little cocktail of herself, which was a combination of pineapple flavored vodka and coconut. It's a coconut. It's a hard cider, but it's a coconut hard cider, or not cider. I forgot what they're called, but it's like a White Claw. Basically, it's a coconut flavored White Claw, and more pineapple flavored squeeze in flavor additive type deal. And then Mom wanted to try the pineapple vodka with some orange juice. Mom couldn't handle more than a couple of drinks of it, so I ended up having my mead plus Mom's little cocktail. So, Jerry got a little sloshed. I got a little tipsy, but not like stupid. I mean, I can handle. Not saying that I'm able to handle all alcohols, but compared to my mom and my wife, and my wife used to be able to keep up with me when it came to how much to drink, but they're both, in my book, a lightweight. And I tell you, I've had all kinds of different alcohol. I mean, I've had scotch, brandy. I hate tequila. I tried it once. And I was like, yeah. I've tried various types of beers. In fact, if I were to start drinking beer, which I don't think I'll ever do, American beer, for as I'm concerned, too harsh. Give me something like a Samuel Adams hard ale or winter lager. But yeah, European beers, I don't know if it's because of the way they make them or the way we drink, the way they drink them. They drink them at room temperature. I can handle like Heineken. I don't remember what else I drank from Europe other than wine and scotch and brandy, because those are considered European. I've never had a Chardonnay. Yeah, it's a wine. Geez, it's been such a long time since I've had anything but mead. Ever since I got hooked on mead a couple years, about a year or so ago, it's like, I don't want nothing else but mead, unless it's a German Rhine River or Mosel River Valley type wine. But you'd think that somebody who had a father who basically gave him a short bottle, one of the small baby bottles that was half water and half San Miguel beer, which is a Filipino style beer, or beer made in the Philippines. I don't know. I prefer. I'm more of a sweet drink type guy. Yes, I mean I've had blackberry brandy. I've had a variety of different flavored brandies. Not a big brandy person. Scotch. I've had generic scotch, and then I had a friend of mine who gave me a sampling of Johnny Walker Red, Scotch of Scotland, and I went, this is not bad. Little, it went down smooth, but when it hit bottom, it burned. But enough about the alcohol. It's starting to make me sound like an alcoholic. I'm not. I know I'm not, because in fact I have maybe one shot glass or not even, well, maybe a little bit more than that worth of mead every so often. I don't need it. Sometimes if I feel like I'm going to have a hard time going to sleep, I will drink some. Last night, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was stuff going through my head or what the deal was, but last night, I had trouble getting to sleep. I mean, I went to bed at a decent hour. Me and Jerry went to bed about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And at first, when she said she was going to go lay down in bed and whatnot, I was like, not really tired. I don't know if I want to go play around on the computer or play some sort of game or something, like I have a game on my computer called Civilization, Rising Storm. And it's basically a turn-based game where you're building up you choose a civilization. I usually choose either the Norse or Norway, or one of those European nations. You can choose like everything from way back when, the Roman Empire, Egypt, Cleopatra, Teddy Roosevelt, the Russian leader Peter III, King Harold, which is basically the Norse leader. Basically, there's different actual real life civilizations, and you basically have to build up your cities and your land, and build your civilization up. And you start in the Stone Ages and work your way up to the information or a digital age, whatever it is. And it's a relaxing game because it's not a constant activity. You basically point and click and tell it what to do, and wait until your turn is up. Cycle through all the different civilizations you chose or let the computer randomly choose to compete against, basically. And you have you develop your tech, your science, you develop your culture, you develop your government, all those different fun things. And I was thinking about going out and play that to help me relax and fall asleep, but I opted to just go to bed because the way I was feeling, I was like, oh, maybe I can fall asleep. No. I got on my phone and I started checking out things and checking out TikTok, and I realized that nothing was helping me relax, so I went on my phone to my app that lets me paint by numbers, basically. You click on a number, you hit corresponding numbers to develop a picture. That wasn't helping, so about 2:30, 3 o'clock, being half awake, half asleep, but not asleep enough to fall asleep, I had to get up and go to the restroom. And then I fell asleep probably around 3:30. My alarm went off at 10, so I got maybe 6.5 hours worth of sleep, which is not too bad because I'm feeling pretty good. The weather today is supposed to get up in the upper 70s, lower 80s today, compared to yesterday where it was lower 60s. Literally it's going to jump by almost 20 degrees overnight, literally. So I'm like, great, okay, we have a couple more we have what looks like to be a warm weekend, so it's not supposed to start raining again until Sunday, Monday. So we have 2, 3, maybe 4 days worth of decent weather before it gets overcast and nasty again. Buddy, you're in the wrong room. This little fly is going to be an annoying little twerp. But anyhow, today yesterday we talked about what we wanted to do today. So today, we're going to try to do some more work in the living room. Now, one of the things I want to do today, just because the fact I noticed the other day when Jerry Ann decided that she wanted to get out of the house for a little while, which was Tuesday, to take just a quick drive to, get out of the house. She had trouble getting out the mudroom door to the the carport, and that was because of the fact there was a box of groceries that I had not put away yet, because I kept on putting it off. Because one of the things I wanted to do is get into the pantry closet to try to straighten it up before I put anything away. Well, yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to try my best to put it away, and then sometime in the near future, just go into the pantry, pull everything out, and put everything back in the right places. And it's all my fault. I'm not blaming anybody for it, but what happens is, excuse me. Nope, I didn't swallow the fly. The fly is sitting right up there. Little. Anyhow, what happens is sometimes when I'm trying to deal with groceries, whether it's I do the grocery haul and put it away, or Jerry does the grocery haul and put it away, 9 times out of 10, what happens is I'm trying to, I don't know why, but I'm trying to rush through getting stuff away, and I just don't even look. I just go, oh, here's a hole. Let's put something in the hole. Not exactly Haggy. It's more like trying to get it done for the sake of getting it done, and not thinking about the factor that you're not one, it's not being put back with other like items, and two, when you go to look for certain items and everything's just kind of shoved in the closet without being organized, it becomes a royal pain in the butt, because you get frustrated you can't find the item or one thing or another. So I gotta fix that. And the reason why I don't ask Jerry to go in and do it, because it's a very narrow door, narrow space to get into. The closet looks like it was the original, or part of the original coat closet of the house, before they started doing some remodeling, because they've got a closet right here by the front door, and then they've got that closet in the mudroom. Now, somebody like me who would look at that closet before we tore out the hanging rod and shelf. Actually, no, they didn't have a hanging rod in that door, in that room. But they had some plastic shelving that they were, I guess, were using to store stuff on. To me, that room that closet that we use for the pantry would be more for like cleaning supplies, mops, brooms, that kind of stuff. Which is what we originally had it for, like extra electrical gadgets and just, non-food items, basically. Trash bags, plastic wraps, paper towels, that kind of stuff. Because, in my mind, it's like, well, this is the mudroom. This is where the washer and dryer is. We have our big freezer out there. That's where all the paper goods and cleaning supplies belongs, in that closet, because it's a cleaning room. But because we have so much kitchen stuff, gadgets, mixing bowls, utensils, and all kinds of different stuff, it's kind of hard to have that. In fact, it was hard to see all the food in where we were keeping it. So that's why we did the switch in the two, where the food is compared to where the paper goods are. So I'm hoping when we get everything said and done with the cleaning projects and the rearranging projects and the organizing and decluttering and whatnot, when we get into the kitchen drawers, because right now the kitchen looks okay. I'm trying to maintain a clean kitchen, but because we have so much extra kitchen gadgets and cooking utensils and whatnot, it's kind of like we need to downsize a whole lot of stuff, because there's a whole lot of stuff that we have in our drawers and cabinets that we have just for the sake of having. We hardly use them, or rarely use them, or have not used them in a long time. Um, in fact, we got the Ninja Foodie, as we call it. Basically, it's an all-in-one toaster oven. Basically, it can toast. It has a bagel setting. It has a toast setting. It has a setting for air frying, air baking, air broiling. So basically, it's an all-in-one item. So you don't have to have like a Fry Daddy where you have to have oil or grease in the fryer to fry up fried foods. The air fryer is healthier. You don't use any kind of oils or anything like that. And that, in fact, there's less of a chance of grease splatter burning somebody or a fire starting because of the hot grease, that kind of stuff. Then, in fact, we got rid of our toaster oven because it has a toast function and a bake function, so we can bake small items in there. And I wanted it because then we can downsize. We don't have to have a toaster and two other different items on our countertop. It has a broiler setting. Unfortunately, we did try broiling chicken wings in there, and other than the smoke and whatnot, the grease splatter and whatnot, the aftermath of trying to clean it all up was a royal headache. But it was one of those trial and error type things, like, oh, this is great. We only have a small amount of stuff. Let's just use the Ninja device so we don't have to use the big oven. Well, after doing that, I was like, I prefer the big oven. I don't care what kind of headache I have to deal with when it comes to the oven. I'd rather use the oven because either device created enough smoke to cause the smoke detector to go off. The only difference is the oven is bigger and easier to clean compared to this little tabletop unit. That, in fact, the nice thing is when it's in cook mode, it's laying like this, so you can get in and out of it. But when you're not cooking, it folds upright to give you counter space. So it's like one of those counter saving, space saving type devices. Yes, I finished my coffee. So switching from trying to get rid of devices that we don't need or use is one of the things that we got to basically all three of us have to be involved in, because it's like, I want mom to be there because a lot of the devices are hers, and I want to explain to her why I want to get rid of it. Because one, we're not using it, and two, it's taking up space. And if I can get rid of a lot of the gadgets or stuff that's taking up drawer space in the kitchen, I can start downsizing some of the other cabinets that we put in ourselves. Mom has a bank of drawers in the main part of the kitchen for her gadgets and a few other things that she hasn't been using since we moved in together. So it's kind of like, Mom, you don't really need these. You've got me and Jerry taking care of you. We don't use these items. I can understand certain items being kept because, in fact, we do use them, or she still uses them from time to time. But for the most part, we don't need them all. That, in fact, in one of the drawers we have multiple blenders. We only need one. We got this one new one that is supposed to be an all-in-one blender. You can basically throw all your soup ingredients into it, blend it all up, and then hit a button to cook it. So you don't have to take all the liquids and stuff that's been blended in the blender and transfer it to a pot. You just blend it all together, hit a button, and it'll cook your soup for you. It's something that Jerry got from her Pampered Chef thing that she did a couple months back, last year, something like that. And the blender is awesome, but we've never used the soup component. So it's like, okay, we have two different blenders. We have the one that Mom bought with two different size blender cups, and then we have the one that we got that has all these other special functions that don't know if we'll ever use. So it's kind of like one of those toss-ups. Do we keep both of them? Do we get rid of one of them? What do we do? So during the process of downsizing everything, it's literally when it comes to like the kitchen stuff, because we combined our stuff and then mom's stuff into one kitchen, and had to add a couple of extra cabinets because it wasn't enough space. So it's kind of like, I want to go through all these cabinets and decide what to downsize, what to do with it, whatnot. So that's what we're trying to do. Oh, this information I'm about ready to tell you is kind of like, I wouldn't call it confidential because it's not anything like secretive, but it's one of those things where it's like, have been on the hunt for a shed to put outside next to our carport because of, well, the original idea of getting a shed way back a year or so after we moved in, actually a couple years ago, and we've been here for about 5 or 6 years. So it's the whole up and down into the attic and whatnot, and the clutter in the outside utility shed, or outside utility room. It's not really a shed, it's a big room, but it's not big enough. We have a bunch of like totes and whatnot with holiday decor, and we've been slowly downsizing that too, so we're good on that. But I wanted to get a shed for outside because something I put close to the house, like up against the carport, because I'm getting to, between Jerry's weakness and my weaknesses coming, as we're getting older, we're having more and more problems with physical issues. So I wanted to get a shed so I wouldn't have to climb up and down the attic to get, holiday boxes, because I'm just getting a little paranoid about climbing up ladders now. That in fact are trying to hand these heavy totes down to Jerry, who is herself getting weaker. I want to get stuff out of that shed. But as we started to do our projects around the house and seriously start moving shit around, excuse my language, moving stuff around and fixing up the house, we need a place to store some of the stuff. And I'm like, we really need that shed, because we have a queen size mattress set that we are thinking about moving out of the guest room for our old king size bed, which I think I've talked about before. And we don't really want to get rid of the queen size bed because we might be able to give it to somebody that desperately needs it or something along that line. I've got young cousins who, one of them is in college right now, and who knows, she might be moving out on her own pretty soon, so she's going to need a bed. My wife has got nieces and nephews who are moving into their own places, or have moved into their own places, that may or may not need their own, a queen size bed, and it's hardly used. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to get the anti-bed bug type bags and wrap the mattress and box spring in and put it in the utility shed until we decide what to do with it. So there's all kinds of different reasons for sheds, and Jerry's been looking online at Lowe's and Sam's Club and a few other places, and she found one through Sam's Club that was not that expensive. I don't know how much exactly it was, but they were sold out. The Sam's Club in my area were sold out. So it's kind of like, darn it. I would have been willing to try to drive to Springfield or something like that, or get someone to help me drive to Springfield to pick it up. Only thing is you have to basically bring it home and build it. And I was looking at the same information. I was like, oh, okay, so it's made out of plastic, but looks like wood. It has a metal frame. Okay. Only thing I'd be worried about is because the fact that it's plastic, is unless it's that really hardcore, tough plastic that critters can't chew through it, because that would be my biggest, a rabbit or squirrel or groundhog or one of the other variety of critters that constantly have to chew because of their teeth are constantly growing. I would worry about that. Okay, I thought I heard something buzzing in my drink. I'm like, oh, no. Nope. Get out of my hair. Get. Pest. But we are slowly yet steadily moving forward to getting things done. You really want to die today, don't you? Bugs, flies. Flies especially are more annoying than any other bug I've ever had to deal with because they can get in your fly into your face. Anything that flies, I don't like them. Not that I want to go out and, take every one of them out, but they like to get into your face. They like to get it. They're just annoying. What was my last piece of information before I got offline? Oh, we have an interesting little dilemma. The reason why I say it's a dilemma is because the fact that it's a decision-making type situation. We have, my mom, now that the pandemic is over and whatnot, of course it didn't matter because we went to Ohio in the middle of the pandemic last year for a graduation, but that was about it. But now that the pandemic is kind of ending and whatnot, Mom wants to go to Ohio. Now, I can understand wanting to go to Ohio to visit her brother and nieces and nephews and whatnot. And I wouldn't mind going to Ohio to see my cousins, my aunt, uncle, and whatnot. I wouldn't mind just to get away from this place. The dilemma is not the factor of going because of money, because Mom's already basically said that she'd pay, which I'm thankful for, but at the same time, I'm not really happy about because it makes me feel like I'm taking advantage of my mom, and I hate doing that. I mean, at least I don't want her to, my thing is I don't want her to pay for everything because then that makes me feel like I'm taking advantage. I like to pay my fair share. Well, the dilemma right now is, and granted, Jerry Ann is slowly getting better, but it's supposed to be like, we'll know by June 10th if we can afford it, one. Two, hopefully by the time it rolls around, which is like mid to late June 20th, 21st, somewhere around there, Jerry's the primary long distance driver. And if, and I'm trying to get out there to get used to driving longer on the highway because of big rigs and other drivers. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, yeah. One, I don't think Mom can handle driving long distance with me because the music I like to play while driving long distance is Nordic or Norse Viking type music, and Mom might not like the lyrics, let alone the beat, because it's heavy metal. Some of it's heavy metal, some of it's not. On the genre scale, it's goes from folk to metal to, I don't know what you'd call it. So it varies, but thankfully Jerry Ann is getting better slowly. As of yesterday, the only thing really bugging her was her knee and rib. Like a section of her ribs on her lower left, I think it is. Every so often flares up on her, like she sneezes really hard or something like that. It causes her a fair amount of pain. Not enough to run her to the hospital or put her bedridden or anything like that, but it's something new basically. Everything else is either gone away or she's just gotten used to the aspect of the pain that it doesn't bug her no more, except for her knee. And that's my biggest concern because it's the knee that is, it's the knee that's been problematic all our relationship. It's just the aspect of how bad it has been, or when it flares up. And I've noticed the pattern. I've seen the pattern, and I notice it, and I go, oh, it's not something the doctors can just easily do, except for, throw a bunch of painkillers her way. It's worse during bad, nasty, gloomy, rainy, high barometric pressure days. Like today, I can tell you that right now it's going to be a beautiful day. Very little to no barometric pressure. So now it's just getting her to do some in-home PT, some extra in-home PT for flexing and moving that knee so it straightens itself out. I think that's the way you'd put it. But anyhow, sorry this video is going to be long. I had a lot on my mind, and I figured I'd just, let it all out. One of the many things I've learned through not only life experiences, but the different Hagee books that I've been reading, that it is better to let whatever's on your mind out so it doesn't become a issue. So that's kind of what I've been doing with a lot of these videos. But anyhow, hopefully today I will get in here and read some more of the American Cozy, so I have some more to talk about tomorrow. That way the videos are a little bit more controlled and structured, and not just like so yeah, once we have something to eat, let our food settle, we are going to start working on the living room. You can go to Jenny-Ann's website to see that. Oh, we're going to do a cooking video tonight, and I'm going to, I don't know if we're going to record it for my channel or Jerry's channel, but I'm hoping we can, like, either we both basically put it on each other's channel and talk about it, so we can give off our input. For the fact of that, if I record for my channel, I don't edit. There's no editing. So I'm thinking about maybe just saying, hey, Jay, why don't you record it, and then once you get done editing it, send it to me so I can put it on my channel. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyhow, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put it in the comment box. I will try to get to your questions or comments as soon as I can. I will say this much for the new people, because I know I've got a whole bunch of new people. If you watch my video, and if you decide to put a question in the comment box, sometimes what I like to do, I haven't done it in a while because I haven't gotten enough questions to do a really good long Q&A session, but I would love if I had a lot of questions so I can do a Q&A session. If I don't get enough to do a Q&A, I would probably just write an answer to your question, unless I feel like just talking about it, because it depends on the question. But anyhow, yeah, you get what I'm trying to say, I hope. If you're new to my channel, if you are new to my channel and have watched this video or other videos and decided that you like the varying content, because it's not always the same every day, as most people will tell you, I can be off the ball and have, a series of videos talking about one thing, but sometimes in between I talk about life. But yeah, just hit that subscribe button and the little bell pop up, and click on the bell, and YouTube lets you know when I put in my next video. Again, I apologize for the link for the video. Until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.